Rand Paul was right to criticize JD Vance over Venezuelan strikes?
Yes and no. I
I'm
don't want to
going
punt
no.
on this one. Okay, why don't you lead off here?
I need to make it clear I am not a Rand Paul hater, right? Like I do respect the fact that the dude sticks to his guns. He's pulling
he's consistent.
the exact same thing he pulled with Barack Obama over drone strikes. So this isn't about Rand Paul. It's about the childlike fairy tale book libertarianism that tends to pop up when we have these like morally questionable situations, but the law is kind of obvious.
Yeah.
This was a military strike conducted in international waters against a designated terrorist organization that the Venezuelan government claims is not part of its governing coalition. The legal justification for it was that this Tren de Aragua boat was imminently bringing illegal Schedule I narcotics into the U.S. Politically, you have to understand that when Trump closed the southern border, he cut off one of the biggest revenue streams for Venezuela's economy, which obviously has crumbled under communism because that's what happens. But you can't smuggle drugs through the border, so now you're forced, the Tren de Aragua gang members are forced to rely on, whatever mail delivery they can get, which is not really anything because customs does a good job, but also now oceans. So, again, I have a lot of respect for Rand Paul, but the law doesn't care about a fictional book called To Kill a Mockingbird, which also, if you remember, the subject of the trial is an American citizen, a black man born in America.
Boo Radley.
And this also happens on American soil. In this case, we're talking about not American citizens, not American soil, not foreign soil, just international waters where the rules are, in fact, different. I don't know what the counter argument was to a case like this. It seems pretty point blank that if you have a designated terrorist organization bringing in bioweapons into the U.S. imminently, not like they were taking their boat from Venezuela to some other country. They were coming into our waters. Like, this is straight up why the U.S. military was, like, first invented, to defeat Barbary pirates.
Yeah, look, I kind of want to walk us through all this because we're throwing a lot at the board right now. Last week, Donald Trump, like Tiana mentioned, drone striked a Tren de Aragua narcotics boat in international waters. It killed 11 and destroyed all of the product, right? The administration celebrated it. JD Vance took to Twitter, or X, whatever it's called, X, knee Twitter, I guess. And he essentially said, I've got the quote here, "Killing cartel members who poison our fellow citizens is the highest and best use of our military." Kind of dorky thing to say, whatever. That's not the problem. Someone responded to him, this is a war crime,
Specifically, a Krasenstein brother, which if you're way too online, you know how funny this is.
Well,
that the vice president responds to a Krasenstein
Yeah,
brother.
not for nothing, a Democratic troll meant to rile it up. And JD Vance responded to this one comment, this is awesome, basically. And first and foremost, JD Vance, much in the same way that we all had problems with how Kamala Harris conducted herself in public, interacted with both reporters and, run-of-the-mill people on social media, you got to be better than this, right? Everyone wants to say Donald Trump at this point in time, he's cursing, so he's a badass or whatever, and all the Republicans down the line are copying this. The Democrats are starting to do it too. You can't let these people get under your skin because you just look juvenile. You look like JVD Vance, right, basically?
Also, you don't want to be terminally online.
Correct.
It's what undoes every presidency.
It's what undid Trump in his first term.
In 2020, for sure, because
Correct.
Trump was not terminally online until COVID, and then he got way too online.
Yeah.
And that's how you wound up with, Kamala
Injecting
Harris.
the bleach.
Yes. It being too online is what I think did in the Biden administration. Not Joe Biden himself, but all the staffers
staff.
that, obviously we outsourced
the
entire federal government to because we had a corpse in office for 4 years. With Trump, part of the reason why I think he's been so successful in a lot of ways this time around, he's remained laser focused on the message. And I think getting kicked off Twitter is one of the best things that ever happened to him. JD Vance is still very online. And like we know that. He's a poster, I'm a poster, I get it. But like also, you're the Vice President of the United States.
Yeah.
You don't need to respond to a Krasenstein brother. And
No, not at all.
Especially, I do think there was like a political motivation that instead of giving the legal justification, because remember, he went to Yale Law School. He is a very bright legal mind. He understands everything like that we're talking about as far as like the maritime law justifications go. He doesn't say that. He just goes for a non-denial denial of whether or not it was a war crime, which it obviously wasn't a war crime. But that's not what he says.
Well,
it's a response that was designed to elicit a response.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm kind of like with Rand
And he
Paul.
took the bait.
Why? Don't take the bait. Like, by all means, challenge things officially when you feel like we want a Senate that acts as a check on the executive branch.
Sure.
But let's just get off Twitter a little bit.
This is my problem with Rand Paul in this specific situation. Actually, it's not even a problem, more or less. It's kind of like a thing that I see happen all the time. It's the meme, verbal meme, putting the MAGA hat on. I voted for this, essentially. Rand Paul, like you mentioned, has been incredibly consistent against, extra-militarized use of American force overseas. He did it during the Obama administration. He did it during Trump 1, during Biden, and now he's doing it in Trump 2. But like for all Trump's talk of I'm going to be the president of peace, you know who he is, and you voted for him, essentially, right? So what did you expect to happen? The guy spent the entire last year saying, you know what? Not only are we going to take on the cartels, we might even freaking invade Mexico to do it, right? And everybody's like, whoa, 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 he's just, he's trying to drum up support. It's like, well, he keeps saying these things and then doing them.
Yeah.
So at what point in time are you going to just take him at his word instead of trying to play the highbrow conservative who's more concerned about winning elections than, again, what the leader of the free world is telling you he's going to do, right?
Yeah.
So I lose sympathy at that point because, again, we've seen it with like Marjorie Taylor Greene on Ukraine trying to be like, wait a second, what's really going on here? And you're starting to see people flip,
Trump wanted a deal,
right?
and if Putin isn't going to give him a deal, he's going to help Ukraine. Like, Trump is not super hard to understand, but I think everyone on the right side of the aisle likes to believe that he believes in like some secret third thing that they
also believe. Yeah, exactly.
Whereas sometimes you just kind of have to, eat the cost and hope that like the fact that he is a pragmatist and he is not very ideological will mean that he will respond to reality. And right now the reality is that the U.S. has the ability to completely undermine the Maduro regime without actually doing regime change. And that is going after the cartels as they target America. Again, if you strike them when they're somewhere else, where if you're taking your little dinghy from Venezuela to Mexico or whatever, that's different. But if you're coming into our country, I just want to bomb pirates, Christian. That's all I've ever wanted.
Oh, man. Yar.